Hello Cooking Club members. We are making balsamic chicken with sun-dried tomatoes and walnuts. The combination of balsamic vinegar and sun-dried tomatoes in this recipe creates an intense flavor that's perfectly complements the chicken and crunchy toasted walnuts. I think it's amazing to get such rich and deep flavors when you make the dish with only a few simple ingredients. The dish is easy and fast to prepare while still being incredibly delicious. When it comes to serving suggestions, balsamic chicken with sun-dried tomatoes and walnuts can be paired with a wide variety of sides. Now, if you want a lighter salad type of meal, serve the chicken over a bed of mixed greens and top it with crumbled feta cheese, or try something with roasted broccoli or asparagus or cauliflower. For a more filling meal, you can serve it with some creamy mashed potatoes, pasta, or a side of rice. Regardless of the presentation, balsamic chicken with sun-dried tomatoes and walnuts creates a satisfying and healthy meal, perfect for lunch or dinner, and it's Blue. So, let's get cooking. As with any quick skillet dinner, you want to make sure you get all of your prep done ahead of time because it does go quickly. Not so much the prep, but the cooking part really does. So get everything ready, and that's what I'm doing right now. You can see I have a few things set aside already that I've measured out. And here are my sun-dried tomatoes, which are going to pair beautifully with that balsamic vinegar. Now, sun-dried tomatoes are not all created equal. For one thing, you can buy them in different forms, dried, not packed in oil, with seasonings involved. So these don't have any seasoning. I wouldn't mind if they had a little basil, that would be okay with me. But what I like about them is I love their color. This is the Alessi brand, by the way. They're a really nice tomato red, and they have a wonderful tangy sweetness to them that I really appreciate, and saltiness as well. Some brands, I tried a brand called Mazzetti, and that was almost burnt tasting to me. So I don't know if they were sun-fried or what, but not sweet at all. And the other thing you want to note about these is that they're dried whole, so you're going to end up with some little ends here, and you want to make sure that those don't make it into the mix because they're really tough. They're not bad for you in any regard, but you know what? I'm going to fish out one more of these, but just something you don't want to be eating. And these are packed in oil, so they're messy. Okay. One more will do it. Get me where I want to go. Sun-dried tomatoes, just like balsamic vinegar, they're like secret weapons of cooking. If you have a dish that you want to perk up and you just don't know what to do, add some sun-dried tomatoes and balsamic vinegar. Okay, let's set that. No, let's put it back here. Okay. We'll get rid of this little guy. And then I need some red onion, a half a cup, very thinly sliced, and I'm going to use a serrated knife for that, so I can just really almost shave the onion. We're going to have some really interesting colors going here too. At the end, it'll all be blended together, but as we're cooking it, it'll be very pretty. And red onion, of course, has a very distinctive flavor to it, which is why I selected it for this dish. I need a half a cup, and this little cup here is a half a cup. So we're going to just do a little bit more. We should be good to go. Perfect. Wow, can I smell that onion? Holy cow. Okay, we'll set that aside. Put this where we need it. And then next, we're going to deal with our herbs. Now, the herbs and the walnuts are finishing elements to this, but you want to have them ready because once you start plating it, you want to be able to garnish it and get going, not start suddenly worrying about chopping herbs and walnuts. So I need fresh thyme leaves, and I believe I need 2 teaspoons of those. Thyme always takes some effort. If you get lucky, you can strip it right off. Sometimes that works, and sometimes it doesn't work at all. But in this case, because I'm using it for garnishing and I'm not chopping them, I want them whole because I think they're very pretty when they're whole. I am not going to use any of the soft stems and chop them, so I'm being pretty careful and meticulous. Okay, that looks like a good 2 teaspoons to me. And what I'm going to do is just kind of go through it a little bit. I can see a couple little fuzzy things in there. Fresh herbs, you know, that's the nature of it. So, and I'm going to just make sure everything is separated. Nice. Okay. The chives will be easier because I have a little pair of scissors that will help us with those. These are actually designed for snipping herbs. They're great if you're doing a quick garnish. I need a tablespoon of chives. Okay, one last pass here, and then I'll tap out all those little pieces, so I'll have at least a tablespoon. Ooh, they smell so good. Okay. All right, next we are going to chop up some walnuts. Now these I've already toasted. I put them in a 375-degree oven, 6 minutes roughly. 6 to 8 minutes is the range you're looking for, and when you open that door, you should be able to smell your walnuts, but they shouldn't get too brown. And I'm going to chop those up here, just a rough chop, and that's it. Okay, my garnishes are set to go. The last thing I have to do is deal with my chicken, and here it is. I have 2 chicken breasts here. Now, you have a lot of options with these. You could cut them up. I'm saying this is serving for 4, so you could cut them in half and cook them that way. What I like to do is pound them out just a little bit to even them out and then slice them after I cook them. So that is what I'm going to do. I have the 2 breasts in a Ziploc bag and a pounder here, and I'm using a flat side, not the side with the spikes. And I just want to even them out slightly, just like that. That's just going to help them cook a little bit more evenly, and that pounding will help tenderize them a little bit. And then let's put them on a plate. And we're going to just sprinkle them lightly. Let's do it this way. Get rid of that glove. With salt and pepper. On both sides. Flip those over. And I see there's a little piece of fat that I'm going to trim off before I actually put these in the pan. Perfect. So I'm going to do that. I'll trim off that fat, and then we'll go to the stovetop. Okay, I'm heating my high-sided skillet over medium-high heat, adding my tablespoon or so of oil. And I'm going to just swirl that around to get the whole pan coated. Takes a little time. It's really a temptation to just keep adding oil. It's easier, right? But you don't want this to be too oily. You just need to facilitate the browning of your chicken breast. So let that heat until I can see it shimmer. And this pan is pretty thin bottom, so that's going to be fairly quick, I'm sure. Okay, that's hot enough. I am going to just tip it. It has a little bit of what's the word I'm looking for? It has a little bit of a rise in the center of the pan. So I want to make sure I tilt it so the oil actually gets underneath the chicken and not just on the corners of the pan, the sides of the pan, I should say. Do it here too a little bit. There we go. Okay. And of course they're sticking. That's fine. That means they're going to brown. This will take maybe 3 to 4 minutes to get them brown on one side. I'm using a spatula to just get underneath these. They do stick. That's fine. That's part of browning. And this is a pretty hot pan. Go ahead and flip them.
Nice, okay. Now, there are going to be some bits of chicken. That's fine. We're going to scrape those up in the sauce, and they will just be a part of the flavor. This is going to go for another minute. These will not be completely cooked, and then I'm going to remove them to a clean plate just because I never like to mix up my raw chicken with my cooked chicken, even though this is not going to be completely cooked. I make it a habit to never mix them up. So 1 minute or so, 45 seconds now, and we will add in our onions. All right, these are perfect. Ew, there is just nothing like the smell of frying onions. They're so good. Okay, I turned my heat off just so that I could do this. I'm going to turn it back on, and this time probably a little lower, about a medium. And the pan is still quite hot, as you can see. And now I'm going to quickly add in my balsamic vinegar. Yikes, right? Stir that around just to get the brown bits up off of the bottom of the pan. A little deglazing going on here. I have an onion swimming around in there too, but that's totally fine. They're all coming back soon. And then let's add in chicken stock. 1/4 cup of that. Soy sauce. That was a tablespoon of soy sauce, 2 teaspoons of brown sugar, and some sprigs of thyme. That's just going to quickly flavor this. All I'm going to do is bring this up to a simmer, and I'm going to keep stirring it while I'm doing it. Okay, then I'm going to add back in my chicken and my onions. And all the juice from the plate. Don't want to miss any of that flavor. So let's mix these around, turn our chicken over, and I'm going to keep doing that until this is cooked through, which is probably going to be about 5 minutes. This has been simmering and reducing for 2 minutes, and now I'm going to cover it and finish that chicken off. Okay, here it is. I already pulled out one of my chicken breasts. 2 reasons. I'm going to slice it, and the other is I wanted a little room to work with so I can get rid of my thyme sprigs. And you can see, well, you can get a hold of them, what those look like, because they lose some of the leaves. They just cook right into the sauce. And then I just find them and get rid of them. One more there. Okay, that is one last one, I hope. There we go. All right, now my sun-dried tomatoes need to be incorporated, and I'm just going to stir those in to the sauce. There's enough heat here to heat them up. You could do it while I was still on the stove, but I'll tell you what I'm going to do with this dish is I'm not serving it right now, and that's what I love about these kinds of skillet dishes is that I don't have to serve it right now. I can make it ahead of time, get all that work done, and basically reheat it when I'm ready to go. But I am going to slice up this chicken so we can taste it, and I'll probably slice all of it up, put it in the sauce, and just put the skillet right in the refrigerator until I need to cook it tonight. We are going to have this over angel hair pasta. Other suggestions could be any kind of pasta that you want. It could be potatoes, it could be rice, it could be polenta, which would be really delicious. All right, so let us slice this meat up. You get one glove here just to hold on to the meat, chicken. The most important thing about this is that you slice across the grain, not this way, so that the chicken stays tender. And I did temp this at just 160, and of course it keeps climbing, so I know it's cooked through. And I know that that balsamic vinegar, because it's so acidic with that soy sauce, has done a nice job of really flavoring this meat with a nice sweetness, because balsamic vinegar is so lovely and sweet. We don't want to test with that much. How about that much? Is that enough to test? Okay. Then I'm just going to spoon some of our sauce here. This pan is still super hot over the top. It's really concentrated, so it doesn't require a lot of sauce to give it a ton of flavor. And then, of course, let's do our walnuts first. And our herbs, our thyme and our chives, we'll sprinkle some of those over the top, which is going to just finish it off beautifully. Okay, so we're going to taste this, and I really hope you make this balsamic chicken with sun-dried tomatoes and walnuts, because it's delicious. Take care.